Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Dani and today I want to talk about all the books that I read from May until now. So here's the thing, I'm late for a lot of these videos, for a lot of my wrap-up, my monthly wrap-ups, and I just don't want to do monthly wrap-ups anymore, no, at least not for the ones that passed already. And there are a lot of books that I honestly don't have a lot to say, so I'm just like postponing it. I don't want to make these videos because I don't think they're going to be interesting to film or to watch, so I'm going to try to make this interesting for both of us. Since my last wrap-up, I've read 36 books, I think? A lot of books. 10 of them I talked about in my mini Star Hop readathon, so you go watch that video if you're interested in hearing about these books. So I'm going to delete them from the list. Let's start there. Yes, perfect. Now I have 26 books to talk about. So I'm not going to say which month I read these books, but they're all from May to now. And I'm going to go very briefly through some of them because I honestly don't have a lot to talk about them. So I read books 1 to 4 plus the half book between 4 and 5 of Percy Jackson's series by Rick Riordan. I love the series a lot. This is a very nostalgic series for me because I think I read 1, 2, and 3 when I was younger, and now I started again from the beginning. And I love it. I love this book's humor. It's just perfect. I'm loving the audiobooks. I'm going through them in audio format, and the audiobooks are really good. So overall, really enjoying it. Can't wait to read the last one. It's already on hold in my library. I'm waiting for it. I can't wait to finish the series and continue with other books in this universe because it's very interesting, it's very funny, and I'm enjoying it. You should read Percy Jackson if you haven't already. Another book that I'm going to be very brief about, I counted it as a book because I want to remember that I read it because it was really good. It was 5 stars. But I honestly think it's a bit ridiculous that I counted it as a book because it has 3 pages. It's a very tiny short story. It's just like, it's shorter than an article online and it's available online. It's called The Egg by Andy Weir, the author of The Martian and Project Hail Mary. And it was really fun. It was really good. It was impactful. It was insightful. And it was very interesting. So I wanted to remember that I read it. But it was 3 pages. You should check it out. It's free to read online. I also read 6 volumes of Saga in this time. 4 of them I think were in the mini Star Hop readathon, but the first and the sixth one that I read were not. But this is a sci-fi graphic novel that I'm enjoying a lot. If you want to hear me talking more about it, check the video for the readathon because I talk more there. But it is really good. If you like sci-fi, if you like graphic novel, check it out because it's awesome. Let me try to find a few more that I don't have a lot to say so we can get to the ones that are more interesting. I read Descender, another graphic novel, so that's why I don't have a lot to say, but this was very, very kindly gifted to me by Kelsey. I'm going to leave a link of her channel in the description and you should check it out. But she loved this graphic novel and she gifted the first one to me and I really, really enjoyed it. I can't wait to continue the series. Another sci-fi graphic novel. If you like it, read both Descender and Saga. I only read the first one, so I can't say much about the rest if it continues being really good, but this sets up a really awesome world, so you should check it out. Okay, now for the rest of the books, I'm going to talk about them in the order of my rating. So I'm going to start with the lowest rating and end with the 5-star books that I read until now. This is also including a little bit of August, so it's not only until July. I don't have any 1-star for this time, so let's start with 2 stars. I actually do have 1 star, but it is on that readathon vlog as well. These 2 books were 2 stars for me. They're very different from each other. Only a Monster by Vanessa Len and what is this? Girl in Ice by Erica Ferencik. This is a YA fantasy kind of with time travel also and monsters. I thought it was very generic. It's a very bad word to say, I guess. But I just didn't care much about the characters. I didn't care about the plot. I honestly forgot a lot about this, so it was 2 stars. This is a thriller that I was very excited about. It's about a woman who finds a girl in the Arctic. Well, they call her because someone found a girl in the Arctic that was thought alive, and she speaks a language that no one understands. And she is a linguist, and she goes there to explore and see what happens. And again, this is another one that I already kind of erased from my mind. I didn't care too much about it. I didn't like the twist, if you can even consider it a twist, really. But there's also a backstory here with her twin brother that killed himself when he was studying, researching in that place in the Arctic. And I don't know, I think it was interesting, the language aspect of the book, but I don't think it just went as far as I wanted it to go. It was just very, again, another generic thriller. Let's talk about 3 stars. 3 stars are the disappointing books. I think it's worse to have a 3 star than a 2 star, because 2 stars at least I disliked it, but 3 stars just like fine. And there is one here that was the most disappointing book of the year for me. But let's talk about them. So the first one that was 3 stars was a non-fiction book about burnout. It's called Burnout, and it was fine. It was okay. I listened to the audiobook. The audiobook was good. There was a lot of pop culture and like real world and like movies and cartoons reference, which I don't mind. I think it was okay. I just didn't think I didn't think it said anything new, or I don't know. I thought it was fine. Could have lived without it. Then we have Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. This has been recommended to me a lot of times, and again, it was okay. I don't think this is as genius as some people say it is, but again, it might be just me. I just thought it was very okay. It's about this author, like, it has a story within a story here, which I didn't like so much. It's this author that writes Agatha Christie kind of thrillers or mysteries, and there's a mystery involving his life that has to do something with real life and the book and all of that, which was interesting, but I thought the book within the book was just too long, and I didn't think it was that interesting. So overall, it was okay. This is a series, I'm not continuing with the series. Another one that was okay was How to Pronounce Knife. This is a collection of short stories, and I'm kind of accepting that I don't love short stories, but there's some that I'm still very interested in to read, so I keep trying them out, but usually short stories just don't have that impact for me because they're short, which is the point. But again, some of them were okay, some of them were good, some of them I didn't like so much, so we ended up with 3 stars. And now let's talk about the most disappointing book of the year. Upgrade by Blake Crouch. Okay, so we're gonna have to spend some time with this one. Blake Crouch is the author of Dark Matter and Recursion, which are 2 of my favorite books. Both were 5 stars. So naturally, this was a 5-star prediction for me, and it was 3 stars, as you can tell. I usually say they should go into Blake Crouch's books blind, not knowing anything about the plot, just that it is a sci-fi thriller, and I would still recommend it for this, but just because I have to say something. This is about a man that gets his genes edited and hacked, and he kind of becomes almost superhuman, so he's upgraded, and that's pretty much the setup of the story. I think this was so much worse than Dark Matter and Recursion because it was both of the other books are very science heavy, and there's a lot of science talk, which I usually really like, but in this book I don't think it was still there. There was a lot of science talk, but it was just not really well explained. I was lost the whole time with all the genetic stuff because it was just not explained. It's just throwing a bunch of words to us, and there's a lot that I couldn't tell if it was real science or if it's something that he made up for the book in the genetic editing thing that happens here, which bothered me a little bit because in the other books I kind of could feel much more clearly what was real and what was made up, and in this case everything sounded made up for me because it was not very well explained. And just on top of that, I felt like the main character here, he's kind of overpowered throughout the whole book because he's upgraded, and he still doesn't have a lot of agency. Just a lot of things happen at him, and he's just reacting to a lot of the things that's happening. He's not acting. He's not really doing a lot. So I didn't really care about him. I didn't care about. There's maybe one other important character in the book that was not very interesting again, and just the main thing that's happening in this book didn't feel like there was a lot of purpose to it. there's not a lot of reason why all of that was happening and why they were doing what they were doing. It is kind of explained, but I just didn't buy it. So it was very disappointing. It was still a fast read. It was 3 stars. It was fine. It was okay. So my battery is blinking at me. I'm gonna have to stop this video here and come back later with the rest. Okay, it's been a few hours since I filmed the first part of the video, so the lighting might have changed. And during that time, I actually finished another book, and that is going to be included in the 5 stars when I get there. But we're on the 4 stars, so let's talk about them. So I have quite a big stack here of 4 stars, which is great. I enjoyed a lot all of these books. They weren't perfect, they weren't new favorites, but they're books that I would definitely recommend if you are interested in this sort of theme, whatever the theme is in the book. So let's talk about them. The first one is Ace of Spades. This is a YA kind of thriller-ish, and it's about this prestigious school that mostly has white students, but then these 2 black students start to get not threatening messages, but someone starts to reveal secrets about them and all of this stuff. It's compared to Gossip Girl meets Get Out, if I'm not forgetting it, but yeah, it does make sense in my mind that that's the comparison. And I really enjoyed it. It was a book that I was highly entertained while I was reading it, and I would definitely recommend it. Then we have The Marvelers by Danielle Clayton. This is middle grade fantasy that came on Outgrade Junior, and I really enjoyed this. I really want to continue this series. This is about a magic school, and it's a lot of what you would expect in a magic school setting for a middle grade, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. It was not as good as Nevermore for me in terms of magic schools and middle grade fantasies, but I do want to continue it, and I would recommend, if you like Nevermore, if you like Keeper of the Lost Cities, anything that has Amari and the Night Brothers. I also like the Amari more than this one, but if you like all of that, definitely give this one a try. Then we have One by One by Ruth Work, changing completely the subject here. This is a thriller about a group of co-workers that get stranded in this house, and people start dying one by one. It's compared a lot to And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. It's not. There's not as many deaths here as there is And Then There Were None, and it's not as exciting. I love the Agatha Christie book. It's one of my favorite books and my favorite thrillers, and this was very entertaining. It was 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. If you like thrillers and this type of setting is something that interests you, definitely give it a try. I would definitely recommend it, but not an all-time favorite new thriller. Then we have Stories of Your Life by Ted Chiang. This is a collection of short stories, and like I said, I'm not great with short stories. There are some that I really enjoyed, some that I just didn't. It was just too short. There are some that were really confusing, and I just had no idea what I was reading. But this includes a story that inspired the movie Arrival, and that one was great. It's also the longest one in the book, so makes sense that I enjoyed it more. But that one was amazing, and there are some others here that they're really great. And like I said, some I just don't get, and some are just too short for me. But overall, I thought it was 4 stars because when I finished it, I thought, oh, this was okay, this was good. So 4 stars. Then we have A Psalm for Wild Built. It's interesting now that I'm forcing myself this year to give entire ratings to all the books, like 3 stars, 4 stars, not give half star ratings, just for no reason at all. I just wanted to try it out and see what I thought about it. And there are some books that definitely would have been 4.5 and it fell to 4 stars, and some that would be 3.5 and fell to 4 stars also. And this would be one that I would put in 4.5, while Ace of Spades would be 3.5. But I enjoyed them both enough that they were 4 stars, not a new favorite. But this one is almost a new favorite. It was just so peaceful, so calm. This is about a monk and a robot, and they're just walking and talking, and that's it. That's the whole book, and talking about life, talking about humanity. It's not even that deep. It's just very entertaining and very calm and just wholesome, and I really want to continue this series. This is one that I want to continue for sure. I already have the second book. I pre-ordered it, so I really enjoyed it. it could have easily been a 5-star. It was just like not, it didn't reach quite there when I finished it. But it is one that I keep thinking about, thinking back about it over and over as I looking at the books that I read this year. So definitely one that I will remember more than some of the others that I mentioned in this category. And one that I just recently finished now in August is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. Hopefully I didn't say this too badly. But I listened to the audiobook for this one and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the audiobook, but also the book was 4 stars, so I really liked it. This is not a collection of short stories, but it is separated in 4 stories, kind of. So it's a story of this cafe that has a specific table that if you sit there, you go back in time to a moment that you wish. There are a lot of rules that are explained here over and over, but we see 4 different people taking advantage of that time travel situation and exploring things that happened and kind of getting some closure and just experiencing and saying things that they want to say. And it was just really, really awesome as well, really wholesome for some of the stories. Some are better than others, again. There's some messages here that I don't necessarily agree with, but I understand where it was going to, and I like the characters. I think they are very well written, and some of the stories are really, really sad, and just overall it's really nice. I'm not going to continue it because from what I understand, the second book, and I think there are 3 books maybe more already that have not been translated yet. From what I understand, it's just like more stories, more like people doing that thing or going back or doing something. And I think this was enough, I enjoyed it. It was really nice, but I don't need to keep hearing people going back in time and like experiencing things over. Like, I think this one was enough. It was really nice, but I don't need more. And then the last 4 stars, which might come as a surprise because for me it was kind of a 5-star prediction, but it is a 4 stars and not in a bad way. It's like almost 4.5. It's just a very enjoyable book. And it is The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first one in the second era of Mistborn, and Mistborn is one of my favorite series of all time. So it was really hard that this book was put like together with that series, because it's really hard to reach that status that Mistborn has in my head. But this was really, really fun. I can't wait to continue it, and I will very, very soon. It is my plan. So what I can say, I really enjoyed the characters. We follow Wax and Wayne here, and Wayne is one of my favorite characters that Brandon Sanderson has written. I really enjoy him so much, and how his mind works. I really love him. And all the other characters as well. I can't wait to see how this is going to develop in the rest of the series, and I'm definitely going to continue this to read the 4th book that's coming out in the end of November. So finishing the other 2 before the 4th one, because I'm really enjoying it and I don't want to get spoiled about what happens in the 4th one. But this was really, really fun. It wasn't a new favorite because it's a Mistborn novel, and at the same time it's not, because it's second era, we're following new characters, and it's not going back to what I loved so much in Mistborn. But I think there is potential to have a 5 stars as the series progresses. And now we can talk about 5 stars. So I'm going to start with the one that I just finished this afternoon, and it is Fullmetal Alchemist Volume 18. I believe I read 17 in the vlog that I mentioned before, so I'm not going to talk about what happens in the specific volumes anyway, because this one was the last one. It was the ending of this series that I came to love so much. I started last year, I think. Was it? Maybe the year before. I think it was last year. I don't know what's time anymore. But I just finished it, and I wasn't spoiled about anything that happens in the story. I wanted to keep reading it as these editions were published, and now I went to watch the anime and just relive this story all over again because it was amazing. And now I'm sad, and I haven't been able to really do anything or pick up another book since I finished this today, because I'm sad that it's over. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite series, fantasy series that I've read in any format. I would definitely always forever be recommending Fullmetal if anyone ask me for a recommendation, read this. Read this. Some of my favorite characters, some of my favorite moments, some of my favorite humor, and some of my favorite sad parts as well. It's just amazing. Just amazing. I'm really sad that it's over. I don't even know what else I read that was 5 stars because that's all that's occupying my mind right now. I have 4 other 5 stars to talk about. One was really a surprise, and I still don't understand why I gave this book 5 stars. It's just when I finished it, I felt like it was one of my favorite things that I've read, and that was Go Hunt Me. I forgot Kelly Davis. I'm pretty sure that's the author. I had the arc from NetGalley, and I read it right after I read One by One, and I think because of that comparison, I gave this 5 stars because it was as gruesome and had more deaths the way that I was expecting One by One to be. So I really loved it. This is a YA horror kind of thriller, more thriller, I'd say, about a group of friends that go to Romania to visit Dracula's castle, and weird stuff starts happening. And I really enjoyed the ending. I really enjoyed the reveal, the twist in the ending, in the end. And it was just a lot of fun. And like I said, very, very gruesome. So if you're looking for a really dark YA, really, you should give this a try. I just thought it was very entertaining and dark and really cool. So when I finished, I'm like, this is 5 stars. It would be like the 4.5, like I mentioned before, but it is 5 stars for me. And then another one that I read about the same time of A Psalm for the Wild Built is Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. And this, again, this was a 5 stars because of the feeling that it gave me when I finished it. It was really just calm and everything that I wanted at the time, everything that I needed at the time. This is kind of a sci-fi, and I don't want to say much because the synopsis gives away the entire book, but we're following different people in different periods of time, and some weird stuff happens, but it's mostly about their lives. It's mostly about what they were doing, and in different situations there's a pandemic in it. I'm not even sure if it's, because I know this book references Station 11 and The Glass Hotel. They're both books by the same author that I have not read. And the pandemic here, I'm not sure if it's like our real world pandemic or if it's the pandemic from Station 11, which are not the same one. So I wouldn't know. I'm not sure. But even for the part of The Glass Hotel here, I only found out that it was from The Glass Hotel when I finished this and I saw reviews about it. And I'm sure the people who read The Glass Hotel had a lot more context to understand that part of the story here, but I kind of liked how open-ended and not explained it was. And it was not explained because I didn't have that reference, but I liked it. I liked the way it was, and I thought it was very calm, and I don't know. I would definitely recommend if you're looking for something chill, but still it's a sci-fi, and it's like future and past stories of different people, and I really, really enjoyed the pacing of this book as well. It was just really an awesome time. I would definitely recommend this book. And then the second to last 5 stars that I have was Phil Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosimano. I was kind of expecting that it was a 5-star prediction, I'll say, but I was at the same time really worried that I was just going to think this was too unbelievable or too contemporary for my taste, because I don't read a lot of contemporary, I don't like it, but this was so much fun. This is exactly the type of comedy movie that you would watch, like everything goes wrong, but the main character gets her way in the end, and everything works in her favor, which again, it is unbelievable. It is not realistic at all, but it's so much fun, it's so entertaining, and I love this character so much, and I'm definitely going to continue the series. It was awesome. This was a buddy read on Discord, and it was so much fun to talk to people as we were all reading this as well, so definitely going to continue. I'm so excited. I'm so happy that I love this book so much, because I really like this type of stories in movies, but I haven't read a lot in books to really know if it's something that I would like, and I think it is. So I already have on my wish list Dial A for Aunties, because I've been told that it's very similar and it has that vibe. So I'm really hoping I can get into more of these type of books because it was just so much fun. I was very entertained throughout the whole thing. And before I tell you what was the last 5 stars that I read, but maybe you already know, I want to say that I really enjoyed this format of filming these reviews because, like I said, I did not want to film like normal wrap-ups. This was kind of a wrap-up, but I like focusing on books that I want to focus on and not just talking about the same amount of each book because I don't necessarily have a lot to say for every book. And I know a lot of you are going to ask about my gems game. I still want to do that, but I was getting overwhelmed with the amount of wrap-ups I still needed to get through, and with all the gems and like getting a gem for all of these books, I would probably get to the amount of gems that I would have to buy a book, and then I would have to think about which books that I would want to buy. It was, you see, I was getting very overwhelmed with all of that, so I wanted to make this fun and faster and easier for me, and hopefully it was fun for you as well. I really enjoyed separating it in the stars categories. And let me know what you thought of this format of it. I don't want to call it a wrap-up, just recent reads. But the last 5-star book that I read, I'm not going to talk about it here. It was Babel by R.F. Kuang. I have an entire review just for this book. If that was already posted, I'm going to leave it the link here. If it was not, keep an eye out for that because I think it's a cool one. And it was a 5 stars. Really loved that. I'm not going to say more, but you should read it. And if you watched until the end, put a sunglasses emoji in the comments so I know, because it really does make me very happy. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye!